You are listening to Freshly Squeezed.
I put my phone away at night and then woke up in the morning and it had just been mental. We've gained about 5,000 followers in a fortnight and gained like 13,000 monthly listeners with Spotify. It's kind of like, whoa, right, okay.
You're good. I'm Jim. This is Freshly Squeezed, your one-stop shop for musical discovery. Think of me as the guy in your friendly neighbourhood corner shop, but instead of handing out vapes and sweets and overpriced bottles of wine, I'm the purveyor of awesome up-and-coming artists that are just waiting for you to discover them. And here is what you can discover on this week's show. We've got Norfolk-based singer-songwriter Ryan Redwood. Breaking the mould a bit for what you'd expect from a singer-songwriter, I think. And speaking of breaking the mould, we're also going to hear from the awesome Scottish band Deltamanic. You got me standing like I met my maker. You got the loving of a soul shaker. You know you're loving it ain't ever too much. You've got the Midas touch. Maybe not exactly what you've come to expect from Freshly Squeezed and the selections I make, but I love it, and you're going to love it as well. They're a band that you need to hear. But we're going to kick off with an artist that you've probably already heard of, Andrew Cushin. Before we speak to Andrew, here's a little bit of his brand new tune, Goodbye.
Say goodbye, but I never thought that you'd be giving this another try. So now I'm hell-bent, caught deep, lost in the fog, with no way out but the dreams you found for me. So I never called you to say goodbye, but what's gonna happen to us now? We gotta make it in this town.
So on Freshly Squeezed, here to talk about that new tune and everything else as well, Andrew Cushin. Nice to have you on, mate.
How are you, pal? Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm very good. So we're going to talk about new tune Goodbye. It's out now. I understand this is one that you've had in the locker for a while now in some form or another.
Yeah, I started writing it just before I went out to the Bahamas, which was a mad thing in itself. So I went over with the first verse and a little bit of the chorus, and we thrashed out the riff, and I finished off the rest of the writing when I was over there. And then we done a bit of a demo of it. And then when I got back and I played it to the label and to the management and stuff, it became quite apparent that it was going to be the next single. So we got in the studio as quick as we could to get it finished off. And yeah, I think it came out all right.
How did you find going out to the Bahamas and working? Were you able to remain focused at the job in hand? We all know the story about the Happy Mondays when they went out there.
Yeah, it wasn't quite as rock and roll as the Happy Mondays. That was a fair few late nights, but it wasn't quite that bad. No, mate, I've always been quite open and honest about I kind of struggle to work in Newcastle. I think it's because I know where all the distractions are. It's nothing against working around here, because I'd love to be able to go to work every morning and it just be on my doorstep. But whenever I go away, I know that I've only got 2 weeks or whatever to finish the project, and it just gives me a bit of an incentive to work, I think. So I was out in the Bahamas and it was amazing, and obviously I was there for 2 weeks, but I'd been flown out. They had a studio built for us and all that kind of stuff, and it was like, right, I need to enjoy myself, but at the same time I am here to work, and I know I've only got 2 weeks to show me publishers who I've just signed with, that I'm not just here for a laugh. I am actually wanting to make this kind of work. So it was a nice balance of a couple of drunken nights and saying a little bit of Nassau and all that, and then still being up fairly early in the morning, kind of in the studio all day. It was a nice work play balance, let's say.
In terms of kind of going back to those older songs, how do you know whether a song has potential, whether it's worth hanging on to and kind of chewing over in your head? And how do you know whether you just kind of like move on? Or is it a case that everything you've kind of written, all those chord progressions or little tunes or melodies are kind of hanging around there somewhere?
Well, I don't think it's necessarily that. I mean, I still write poor songs, you know what I mean? I think every songwriter, if you write fucking 10 songs and 9 of them are poor and one of them's half decent. You know, that's pretty good going. So the biggest thing for me is if I can take a song that we've done as a band or something, and if I can strip it down to its essence, which is just me and an acoustic guitar, and it still sounds a good song, then I know that song is a good song, and I know that it's got legs. I also never throw anything away. There's songs that, you know, I kind of rip apart and put together kind of like a jigsaw. There's songs on the second record that have got choruses in from old songs that I'd written years ago, and then verses in that I've stolen from things that didn't make the first album and stuff. So I always stockpile a lot of things, but I suppose the biggest thing with me is, you know, if it's a bit of an earworm, if I'm kind of humming a melody for longer than a few weeks, and if we do finish a composition of a record and then I strip it back and play it acoustic, and it's still got the same effect in the sense that people are going, oh, you know, that's a good tune, then I know that it kind of is.
Musically, this tune, I was going back and listening to the back catalogue, and I went back to the debut album and those first few songs, and musically I think where you are now feels very different from where you were then. It feels more, I struggle to describe it, but fun, I'd say, musically if not lyrically. Do you feel like you've settled into a place where you're enjoying your music more now than you were a few years back?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that first album, you got to remember, it was written from a place of grief and dealing with loss. Do you know what I mean? All of those songs, or 85% of those songs, like 4.5%, and It's Coming Round Again, and even songs like Memories and Where's My Family Gone that came out before, they were all written around the time that I lost my dad. So it's like naturally music was just a way of kind of therapizing myself, really. By the time that I got in to do that second album, obviously you'll never get over losing someone that close to you. But I didn't necessarily have that cross to bear anymore, where I felt the need that I've got to write about this subject matter or I'm not going to kind of get better. So the music that I'm writing now, it's a little bit more free. I know that I can, you know, if I was to compare myself now to back then, I don't think I could maybe write for someone else. I think if an artist was to come to me now and say, "Can you write as a little bit of an indie tune?" I'll give it a good go. A few years ago, I would have just sent them a personal song about myself, you know. So I think I've probably lost that cross to bear a little bit. But it definitely puts us in a happier mindset when I am playing them because, as I say, I don't need to therapize myself with the guitar as such anymore. I'm going on stage to perform and to have a good time as well as just to entertain other people. And I think that's the difference. These songs, when I'm going on stage and playing them with the band, I'm enjoying playing these songs more because they haven't got as much of an emotional attachment as what, you know, certain songs have in the past. That's not to say that I don't love them and I don't enjoy playing them and they don't mean something to us. But there's not that thing of like, you know, I don't beat myself up if I get a word wrong. Whereas I would have kicked I would have kicked myself all over in the dressing room. Do you know what I mean? For messing up a sentence about a song that was so personal of us. Whereas now it's a bit more, you know, what's the worst thing that can happen? You know.
I don't know if this is still the case. I think there was a period where you stopped playing those early tunes like Where's My Family Gone? I don't know if they're back in the set or not now, but was the reason you stopped, was it that they didn't really fit what you were currently doing, or was it that kind of the emotional, personal connection you had with them? It was just too difficult.
I mean, Where's My Family Gone's got to always stay in the set because as soon as Noel Gallagher put his name to it, I think I'd have a mental breakdown if I stopped playing that. But like sort of 4.5%, for example, you know, that's a really open song about loss and about alcoholism. And I always said to myself, because, you know, I wrote that song on the day that my dad passed, and whether people believe that or not, it's the 100% the truth. And I always felt when I played that song live, especially around that time, it was like I could feel myself. I don't want to say the cliche of getting better because that's not the case. But it was like I would speak to people in the crowd and it would resonate with them, and it was kind of helping us through, even just by playing that song. I always said to my band members, the day that song doesn't have the same positive effect on me as the day that it comes out the set, and that just became a point where I was playing it, and I don't want to sound, you know, disrespectful at all by saying this, but I was playing that song because people wanted to hear it, not necessarily because I wanted to play it. And I think that was the telltale for me to go, right, we're going to give this song a little bit of a break. That's not to say that it won't come back in, you know, maybe it's with a different arrangement, or we could do it with strings or something, and it would sound probably quite joyous and, you know, probably beautiful. But there just came a time when I was like, if I'm just singing this for you and I'm not singing it for me, I've got to be cruel enough to take it out of the set. And if that's a couple of people going, oh, well, I'm a bit pissed off that he didn't play that song, you know, unfortunately, it was hurting us by the finish more than helping.
You mentioned Noel Gallagher there. When we first spoke, it was around the release of Where's My Family Gone, which he produced on. He helped you develop that song as well, created a bit of a buzz around it in those initial stages. Is that a relationship that you've maintained through your journey? I appreciate he's been a little bit busy of late, but have you kind of kept in contact? Is he a sounding board on what you're doing at any point?
He is a little bit busy at the minute. He certainly is, I think. Anyway, yeah, do you know what? We've still got my little WhatsApp group, and he sorted us out tickets for Oasis.
Nice.
He gave me a quote for my second album as well. He said it sounded great and kind of good luck with it. So I can never thank him and the High Flying Birds and his management and everything for how much they helped us in the early stages of what's became my career now. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, I've got so much love and admiration for that bloke. He's a dude, isn't he? He's a good lad.
You're from the Northeast. Does it feel to you that that part of the world is having a bit of a moment musically right now? Obviously, you've got the likes of Sam Fender doing great things, and he's been doing that for a while, but there's also, it seems, some brilliant emerging acts coming from up in the Northeast at the moment. Bands like Parkview and the Frowns, Hector Gannett as well. There's always been a music scene up there, but does it feel like finally it's getting a bit of the love it deserves?
Yeah, I think that's probably the best way to put it, actually. I think we've always created good music. It's always, obviously, Newcastle's a very working class city. Everybody looks after each other. Everybody loves to support their own. You see that with the football team and the likes of the Longstaffs came through and Lewis Miley and stuff now. So everybody supports each other. I wouldn't be where I am in my career if it wasn't for my home city. When I go on that stage at the City Hall and there's 2,500 people there singing Andrew Cushin, he's like sort of one of our own. It's like it's a proper, almost a stop the heart moment. And I just think now, rightfully so, we're beginning to get the funding for the venues and funding for the local artists that this area of the country is needed for a little while. And it's helped local artists be able to showcase their talents and how they perform. And I think that's probably something that was just missing a few years ago. I don't necessarily think the music's got any better or any worse. There's obviously more guitar bands coming around now, which is amazing. I think Sam Fender's been a real trailblazer for that. And there's obviously a lot more people wanting to emulate what Sam Fender does, and coming from Newcastle as well, that's probably a bit of a bigger incentive to pick up the guitar. But we've always created good music, it just hasn't been funded and hasn't been looked after properly. And now that we're getting the money up here to start looking after venues and open more studios, it can only be good, not just for the region, but it can only be good for guitar music as well. I think there's a resurgence of guitar music all over the country now. And yeah, it would be great to see another couple of Sam Fenders emerge from up here. And I mean, hopefully I can be one of them, but even if it's not me, I'll still be there supporting the next one,
Things we'd love to see. Andrew, lovely to speak to you again. Really enjoying the new tunes and looking forward to what's coming next. We're going to get Goodbye on Freshly Squeezed, but nice one for coming on.
Nice one, Jim. Cheers, dude.
But I never thought that you'd be giving this another try. So now I'm hell-bent, caught deep, lost in the fog, with no way out but the dreams you found for me.
Links to the whole of Andrew's back catalogue and that new tune found in the podcast description. If by some chance he is new to you and you want to find out more, there are loads of good links in there. And if you are following this podcast already, wherever it is you're listening, then you'll get those links every week with every show with a brand new podcast that will just pop onto your podcast listening platform of choice. So get it done. Follow us now. So from one singer-songwriter to another, Ryan Redwood is at a slightly different stage of his career to Andrew, but making some ace tunes at the moment, and we welcome him onto the podcast. Welcome, Ryan.
Thank you very much, Jim. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. So you're down in East Anglia at the moment, Norfolk way. Not a place that I massively associate with having this great big vibrant music scene. So tell me, what's it like being an emerging artist in that part of the world?
As difficult as you probably would imagine, to be fair. You're not wrong. It's coming up a little bit now. We've got some good venues and that in Norwich at the moment, and there's a couple of good ones in Ipswich as well. I think that the main thing with our scene is that it's just so hard to get anywhere else from here. There's not really a motorway that comes to Norwich. It's like A roads and B roads, which makes touring and stuff a bit difficult, and not that many artists seem to come down here. But yeah, it's starting to get a little bit better. I feel like we're getting some funding and stuff. There's some good gigs happening over the summer, so hopefully that sort of rejuvenates the scene, yeah.
What's it do to a music scene when it's kind of quite isolated? Does it create more competition for kind of less places? Does it create more rivalry, or is it a pretty supportive place?
I think it does a bit of both, really. I think for the most part, everyone's quite supportive of each other because we feel like we have to stick together. Feels like it's us against the world sometimes. But yeah, like you say, competition for support slots can be a bit hard. There's a few bands that sort of get the same sort of support slots every time there's like a band that comes down and stuff. And I think some people do get annoyed at that. But yeah, it's for the most part, it is quite inclusive and supportive, yeah.
Your musical experiences obviously don't just remain within East Anglia. East Anglia? I've said that weird, didn't I? I'm not even sure how to say it now. You know when you get a word wrong in your head and you're suddenly, hang on, do you say it? East Anglia? East Anglia? Anglia.
East Anglia.
That's the word I'm looking
There
for.
you go.
I'm not going to edit this out. I'm going to leave this in.
Leave it in.
Yeah, I'm going to leave that in. You know what I'm saying. What I'm trying to say is you don't just gig at home, you gig all over the UK.
Yes.
You've supported some pretty established artists around the UK as well. Have you developed a favourite place to play?
Well, it would be silly of me not to say Manchester. Yeah, it's got a place in my heart since I was a kid. I'm a Man United fan. I've been going up since I was like 5-6 years old to watch footy. And me and my missus are actually moving up there towards the end of this year. So yeah, it'd be silly for me not to say that because my mates up there would kill me for not saying that.
That's interesting. So I want to talk about the Manchester music scene and its impact on your music in a little bit. But first, let's talk about the new song, Look Up to the Sky. You say it's your most honest song to date. Why is that?
I feel like I've been saying that with the last few releases, to be honest. But I feel like it's just
Getting more and more honest every time.
Yeah, I'm just more honest all the time, I think. Yeah. I think I've just got to that point in my late 20s where I'm comfortable writing about myself in a way that translates without much metaphor, if that makes sense, and much glossiness, I guess. I'm just being very direct at the moment. I don't really know why. It's just sort of every time the pen goes to paper, it feels like there's an intent there more than just, I don't feel comfortable, so I'll sort of skirt around it in a way, you know what I mean?
When I listen to music, I think in terms of lyrics and in terms of the way you deliver the songs as well, there sounds like there's almost a frustration that comes out. It's like there's a rallying cry against something. Is that a reflection of how you feel in the world at the moment, or a reflection of how you think your audience feels about the world?
I think so, yeah. I've now you say that, I've actually realised that myself, to be fair. I don't think anyone's ever said that to me before. But yeah, I think a lot of it's to do with getting older, mate, to be honest. Like I say, now I'm getting into my late 20s. It's like, is that there might be stuff that I'm annoyed that I didn't do or did do along the way. Like, did I make the most of it? Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of stuff. Yeah, a lot of frustration. Probably to go back to where I'm located at the moment, a lot of that frustration probably does come with that as well. And I think that probably just comes out organically in the songwriting as well.
Well, here's the connection back to Manchester, because I thought it reminds me a little bit of Oasis. Now, when I first heard Oasis as a youngster, I thought, here's a band that are talking directly to me, and that's something that's been echoed by a lot of people. I don't think that's a particularly original thought. It was like a generation who thought, here's music I can relate to.
Yeah.
That sense of rebellion, I think, is in your music, and you've got a little bit of that Gallagher snarl in your delivery as well. Are Oasis one of those bands that have inspired your music?
Oh, big time, mate, big time. Oasis have been part of my life, like I say, since I was a kid. Yeah, they're just up there with the Stone Roses for me, that whole 90s thing. Obviously, I went to see them last summer as well at Heaton Park, and yeah, that was a really like life-affirming moment. That really brought everything together. They're always there. As much as I've tried to get away from that influence before, and just like try discover something else. It always ends up coming back to that somehow. You know what I mean? They're always there. They're ever present.
At the moment, obviously, Ryan Redwood solo project. The music you make, I mean, who's to say what sounds like what, but it sounds like a band project. Is there any potential for it to sort of move that way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've done like band stuff within the solo thing over the last like couple of years, the odd gig and stuff we've done sort of as a band. But once I think we're moved and settled, I think that's one of the first things I definitely want to do is try to reach out to people and get a band together for it. Whether that then changes into a whole band project with a different name, everything maybe. But yeah, we'll see what happens.
Well, we're going to play the brand new tune, Look Up to the Sky, in a minute on Freshly Squeezed. Before you go, I need to ask you, I've seen you rocking a Tom A. Smith t-shirt before. Tom, friend of the show, Tom, what's the connection there? Is he a mate? Is he just someone that you look up to? Do you like just like the merch?
I love watching Tom live. I think he's incredible. There's not really a connection. I've met him a few times after gigs and stuff, and he's always been really, really nice to me, bless him. Tom's an absolute legend. There's a weird connection that I'm mates with a band called Cushin, and they're mates with Tom, and they did a song together, Human Nature, which is an absolute tune. But yeah, I'm just a massive fan of him, really.
No collaboration coming in the future. It's not like a hint of a duo starting.
I mean, if he wants me, he knows where I am. Do you know what I mean?
The offer's there. Ryan, pleasure to meet you. Loving the new stuff. Thanks for joining me on Freshly Squeezed. We're going to play the new tune in a sec.
Nice one. Thank you very much, mate. Cheers.
Beginning to feel like my life was a waste of time. Been having this feeling since
can hear those Manchester influences in that one, can't you? I wonder if those will become more pronounced when he gets up this way, when he's living in Manchester. Final band on this week's episode, and you're going to love this lot. They're called Deltamanic. Dean and Ross from the band joining me. Welcome to the pod, boys.
All right, how's it going?
First off, you're from a place called Alloa in Scotland. Heads up, I had to Google it. What is the music scene like up there?
It's actually, there's always been a kind of music scene of some sort of the years, but right now there's been quite a lot. There's, I don't know if you're aware of Vida and then Tonto. They've both been doing really well. Vida have been kind of on the go for the last, about 10 years or something.
Aye, 10 years, roughly, give or take, I think.
They opened the King Tut stage at Transbit. We all practice in the same building and that, so that's quite cool.
So there's a little hub of kind of Scottish, for want of a better word, indie rock kind of developing where you are.
Aye, well, that's it. There's a kind of big indie scene on the go, and then we're kind of like
Breaking the mould,
Aye.
if you want, with the soul stuff.
aye.
Well, it is slightly different what you guys are doing. And also something else that's different about you as a band is you're the first band I've ever actually approached to come on the podcast rather than a band that's approached me and kind of submitted music in some way. And the reason for that is you popped onto my Instagram feed with a post saying, and you've done a few of these, like, don't let the algorithm decide what gets your attention, which seems to be a little bit of a trope in your posts online on social. Is there a plan there? Is there kind of like this idea that you really wanted to push the underdog card and push back against the system a little bit?
Aye, it's kind of, especially, I think the UK wide, to be honest, the kind of main music scenes in there, and with Oasis making a comeback, I think everybody was jumping back on that, where we just kind of stuck to what we wanted to do, and it was kind of like, right, how do we get people's attention to go, oh, wait a minute, oh, here's another indie band, but oh, wait, no, actually, no, they're no. So it was kind of trying to get the fishing hook out and try and get them.
Is it working as a strategy? Do you think you've found many new members of your audience that way?
Oh, definitely. It's been something I've been doing for the last probably about a year now, between TikTok and Facebook and Instagram, and views go up and down. But the first video I posted on Instagram with that caption, as you said, I put my phone away at night and then woke up in the morning and it had just been mental. And that was 2 weeks ago, and it's still, we've gained about 5,000 followers in a fortnight and gained like 13,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And it's kind of like, whoa, right, okay. And then off that, it's just been building. So it seems to work in a sense.
As you say, the metrics around Midas Touch seem to outstrip what you've done before. Your most streamed tune to date by some distance. Has it been purely about kind of the social marketing strategy, or do you think you've kind of hit on something with the tune this time as well?
I think looking at the kind of social media side of it, that's definitely helped with the push that the social media's had. But I do believe, though, and we've all kind of agreed, like as a band, that releasing Midas Touch is really kind of showcasing our sound and what we want to portray as a band. So I think the music itself is doing a lot of the talking, along with the help of the social media as well.
You mentioned the big sound, the ambitious sound that you have as a band. Dean, it's up to you to kind of make that happen. You produce it in-house. Has it been a conscious call to kind of go, I want to do this myself, I've got a vision of how it's going to sound? Or is it kind of a needs must kind of thing where you've gone, well, an external producer is going to cost us big money at this stage?
A kind of mix of both, to be honest. It was because I do pretty much the entire of the writing. Callum actually sums up perfectly. He always says that I draw the picture and everybody else colours it in, which is probably
I like that.
give it like spot on. But we're good in the sense where I can come with an idea that I've got like dead set that that's how it's meant to sound, but then 2 hours into a practice it's completely changed because we just kind of go with, right, no, what you're saying's right. But then when I come to the mix, and listen, I play guitar and I don't have a clue about anything about guitars, and the whole sound engineering thing completely blew my mind. I thought that's not for me. I didn't care what they're talking about. But then I suddenly took a notion for it and I started to get interested, and I thought, see, for the sake of trying to go to studios and stuff, we've got our own practice room, we've got drum mics and stuff, like, I'll just learn how to do it as best as, and then see how we get on. So I ended up starting to kind of go down the rabbit hole of, all right, I'm going to be the greatest producer in the entire world. Kevin, like, I can't know what I'm doing, until we hit the first bump on the road and go, oh no, scrap the whole thing, I'm not doing this. So I started to kind of pick it up and learn, and then when I'm writing a song, it's almost like in my head, it's like I'm standing in a room and I can see and hear all the instruments and every part playing, and then it's trying to translate that from my head to everybody else or to a recording session to kind of build a demo. But then when it come to mixing, I thought my fear was going to a studio where feel like I'm annoying someone, constantly want to change this, change that. So I thought, I'll try it myself. One thing I'll say is our recordings and the mixes, there's next to no processing. What you hear on the recording is how we sound live, and I think that's a good thing to have, because I don't like the idea of going down the road of having far too much production and processing going on that you can't replicate live, because you can sound fantastic on a record, but if you can't make it sound that good live, then it's a waste of time.
I want to find out a little bit about your influences before we wrap up. And to do that, I want to take you into an iconic place in freshly squeezed land. It is my Mind HMV. This is my version of Sherlock Holmes's Mind Palace. It's a mental record store where everything I've ever heard is put on shelves and stored, but where it goes on those shelves is up to you. I've got an idea about what your influences might be, but I don't want to show you mine till you've shown me yours. So I want you to pick where your tune Midas Touch goes in this record store, okay?
Cool.
So first we need a category. Anything goes. It can be rock, jazz, pop, or it can be something completely bespoke, something completely made up that only applies to you. So where is Midas Touch going in terms of category?
Oh, it would have to be either funk and soul section or even disco. It would have to be somewhere in a region.
Solely disco.
Take that. No, take that.
Okay, we're going to stick it there. So next, this is the more challenging bit. We sort music by influences rather than alphabetically in these sections. So your record needs to sit between two other records that have impacted its sound. So over there you can see Beatles next to Oasis, naturally, that kind of thing. So you got Midas Touch in the middle. What's going either side of it?
Is that a song or just artist?
I think it's got to be a song or an album. I think artist's a little bit too broad.
Oh, song-wise, I would probably say Midas Touch, one side of it would have to be Cut the Cake by Average Pipe Band. Just summing out the kind of guitar licks going on and stuff and the kind of big sound. That's going to be one side.
I had in my head, Let's Go Round Again, just for that pure groove, exciting feel.
Yeah, that's all right.
Nice. We'll bang it there. I'll tell you what, the two artists I thought you were going to mention, I didn't go as far as a song, but I thought on one side, Nile Rodgers, and on the other side, I thought Fleetwood Mac.
Well, funny you say that. I've always had a couple of people on social media saying to us that they hear a lot of Fleetwood Mac. I don't listen to a lot of Fleetwood Mac, so I don't really pick that up. Nile Rodgers, like 100%. 100% that classic disco sound. He's the master. Another one we had actually mentioned that a lot of people had said was Jerry Rafferty, which I thought was quite interesting. And there is a bit of a kind of likeness there as well.
Yeah. Well, we'll bang it on the shelves. It's your call, so we'll put it where you've made your decisions. We'll put it there for other people to find. Boys, really nice to chat to you. I can safely say I think we've never had a band on Freshly Squeezed that sounds quite like you, and that is 100% a good thing. Really enjoying Midas Touch. Good luck with it, and cheers for coming on.
Cheers, Jim. Very much. Appreciate it.
can hold my soul in the palm of your hand and let it fall through like a grain of sand. You can build me up, and knock me down, 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 down. Take control, spin me round and around. Ah, yeah.
That song will be proper stuck in your head now for the rest of the day, and I make no apologies for that. You want more from them, or from Andrew Cushin, or from Ryan Redwood? Then get all up in the podcast notes. Links and all sorts there, including the Freshly Squeezed weekly new music playlist, which features 10 new tracks every week, and also does feature this podcast linked in there as well every week, which you can get on Spotify. The playlist you can get on Spotify. You can get the podcast everywhere. I was actually chatting to someone the other day about the playlist. They were happily telling me how much they like the playlist, how it's a great way to find new bands that they go on to love and follow, but they also told me how they always skip the podcast bit, which...
I mean, that's just rude, isn't it?
But anyway, it's there if you want it. You can listen to the whole thing, you can skip the podcast, you can listen to the tunes, whatever. Do what you will. That's it for this week. Thanks for listening if you did indeed listen rather than skipping. If you did, cheers to your ears.
The award-winning Freshly Squeezed, a new music podcast, was devised, produced and hosted by Jim Salveson. Sound design and production by Ant McGinley. The music, Blue Blazer, is written and produced by Spin Class. Stop.